Bit of hand sanding on this fine Sunday afternoon. Weather's crazy for this time of year. I'll see out the window there. I think it's about, what is it? It's about 21 degrees in winter, so we're doing pretty good for some weather at the moment. Anyway, back to this hand sanding now. I've finished this one here. Oh shit, nearly dropped it. So this is a bit of AE Bell stainless steel, and hand sanding on the flats there. So you can see that nice kind of even. It's not polished. It's what they apparently called satin finish. So I think this one I took it up to 600 grit. I think when you tend to go a little bit more than 600, it does tend to give it that polished look, and that's not really what I'm after. So I like to see the nice lines going through. I think it looks a lot neater than an actual like a mirror finish polish. Nothing wrong with mirror finish polish, but I don't know, I just happen to like the hand rub look. So I start off with I finish on the grinder at 240, and then so we've got the blade nicely clamped up on this piece of high-tech wood sanding device. I think it's a bit of my daughter's old vanity unit from her bedroom from when she was a kid. So just, I don't know, sentimental, keep using it. So we've finished the blade with the 240 grit on the grinder. So then I'll go over to the abrasive paper. Now this is like that cloth backed, I think back in the UK it was emery cloth they used to call it, but just cloth backed abrasive, which is, you can tear it off really easy, like that bit there. You can just tear it off nice and easy, just into small pieces. I'll put it on the back of this piece of Bakelite, or micarta, whatever you want to call it, which is nice and flat, and then rub away nice and straight. I tend to just keep going straight like this way with the grit. I don't tend to go across because I've got most of the grind marks out or any of the imperfections on the belt grinder. I tend to just go straight, starting off with a 120, just going straight, and then from 120, 180, keeping it lubricated with a bit of the good old WD in between, wiping it off with a paper towel in between, getting all the grits off. So then go 120, 180, 240, 320, still all on the cloth backed paper, not really paper but cloth backed abrasive, and then we go to 400 wet and dry paper. This is just your normal stuff that you use on your car bodies or repairs or whatever, that kind of thing. So again, I will use the hardback block and do the 400, 600, then I'll go up to 800 to 1,000 sometimes, and then give that a nice rub, and then go back over it with the 600, because I find that when you go up to the higher grits, it kind of polishes it out a little bit nice, and then go back with the 600, and it puts the nice 600 grit lines in, and I just find it gets the nicer finish on the final 600. I will actually go over it with this block here. It's just a piece of old Jarrah, nice hard, but it's got one of those like I don't know, what would you call it? You use them on chair legs, on the bottom of chair legs, to stop scratching the floor. It comes in like a big sheet, and you cut it up to the sizes that you want it. So I've got that stuck to this piece of wood, and it just when I put the abrasive paper on there, it just gives it. These are actually quite hard, but it gives you that little bit of softness to the block. And I find that just by using this and then just pulling it back straight, lifting it, pulling it back straight, lift straight, don't actually rub it backwards and forwards, just by drawing it back, just with a little bit WD-40 on there again. But probably use one piece of this every time you draw it back. Just cut them up into little pieces, because I find that like as the paper goes on the edge of the blade, it sometimes puts marks in there, and if you slightly move across with it, then it almost like puts a line on the actual blade itself. So just go over that again. So it's just literally pulling it back once, bin that, put another piece on, pull it back, bin that one, pull it back again 3 or 4 times. It's not expensive, so you just cut it up into little pieces. So I know it's a bit wasteful, but I find that gives it that nice final even satin finish, which is what we always say is what we're after. So I pretty much think that's covered it. It's only a quick, it's not a major in-depth video on the exact process of hand sanding, but it's just a quick run through, quick guide of how I actually do it, and what I find that works for me might not work for somebody else. I don't know, we all get used to our own ways of doing things, and that's pretty much it. So hopefully that will be interesting to see how we finish. I get asked sometimes what kind of finish is on a blade, and how do you get that nice even grind on. Not really a grind, but some people think it's got like a grind to it, but it just comes down to a lot of rubbing with the hands, and just having a bit of attention to detail, and not rushing. That's the thing. And if you go to your next grit, and because I'm quite lucky here because I've got this window, you can actually look through the window at the blade, and you can see any tiny little marks in there. Don't be what's the word? I don't know what the word would be, but go back down the grit and sand it again. Sometimes even if you're at the 400 grit stage or 600 grit and there's a couple of little marks in there, go back to 180 and do it again, because you're never going to get those marks out with the higher grits. It's just not going to happen. You end up wasting so much time. So just go back to the 180. I know it seems a bit of a bummer, but just go back to the 180 and sand away until you get those marks out, and then go back up the grits. It won't take you that much longer. It's, you'll be done. You'll be actually pretty done quicker going back to the 180 than trying to struggle with the fine grits trying to get it out. And then you lose that finish that you're trying to get, because you almost end up trying to polish it. It polishes it because you're rubbing so hard with the finer grits. So if you go back down to the coarse grits, get the marks out, work your way back up, it'll come out nice, and you get that finish that you want. So I think that's about it. I'll see you next time, and stay safe and enjoy the rest of the day.